Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm Bear and Degidio, and we are back with another episode of the Jackson Podcast. I'm sitting here with the greatest co-host of all time, Rampage Jackson. Rampage, I just want to tell you I'm very proud of you. Always on time, looking phenomenal. And we're sitting here with the most requested guest, someone the entire Jackson Podcast Discord has been going nuts for. Someone who is literally labeled your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Carlos Condit!
Thank you for coming, man. Thank you for coming.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me on.
I mean, how do you know this motherfucker?
Incredible. Come on, man. We had to make it happen for you. He's not coming on here for me. He's coming on here for you.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Like, I probably wouldn't have come on if
Man,
Rampage wasn't on here.
Move
I
on.
appreciate that.
Move
This your
on.
first time meeting him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because he was lying to me like y'all was like best friends and y'all hung out and stuff before.
Oh, God. No. What I try to tell you is, Rampage, the guy that's coming on tonight, is one of my best friends, and we hang out all the time. And I think Carlos knows who we're bringing on today.
Who that?
You want to say it? I don't want to say the name. He might slap me.
Forrest Griffin?
Oh, you know him? Okay, let's move on. All right, listen, we got Carlos Condit on. Former WEC welterweight champion, former UFC welterweight champ, fought GSP, fought Lawler, fought Hendrick. I mean, some of the greatest fights. Literally, and I kid you not, bro, your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. And that says a lot about someone, especially coming from the era where you guys were just straight legends and icons of the sport and what you guys did. I mean, bro, we have so much to unpack here, but I just want to start with this MVP match that I recently saw in Polaris. Mm-hmm. Before we dive down the UFC route and the MMA career, this was an incredible grappling event just a few months ago. Mm-hmm. How did that even come about?
So I competed on Polaris once before. They hit me up, I train regularly, I got to stay moving. If I stop moving, it fucking hurts more. So I just train all the time and still roll quite a bit. So when they hit me up, I was like, sure, let's do it. I spent enough time doing, rolling and whatnot. So, we had a good match. I thought I won. I think I got kind of hometown on the decision, which I never say, right? I lost a lot. I lost a lot of close decisions. I never say shit. This last one, yeah. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm glad it wasn't a fist fight. He'd have probably kicked my ass, but I wasn't.
But you're just keeping it real, though, right? Just keeping it, bro. Ain't nothing wrong keeping it real. I know how you feel. Yeah. I know how you feel.
Uh-huh.
I mean, but how did the matchup get made? Because MVP is pretty tall. He's a pretty big dude. Mm-hmm. And what's the weight looking like right now? What was he at? Where were you at?
We competed at 185.
Oh, okay.
And so, and I walk around maybe 190, 195-ish. So I don't think he had to cut much weight. I think he just competed at 185, right?
Yeah,
correct.
You look like a 170.
What at?
You look right now. You look like you weigh like 170.
Like
right
190.
Wow. You must got big legs. Or something.
Yeah. I carry most of my weight in my legs.
No, same.
MVP moved up to fight Bullet recently. He just beat Bullet at that fight. But yeah, I mean, but you fought most of your career at 170, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, you walk around this weight. Yep. So they hit you up. Was that your first one? Then you said?
No, actually, I competed against Ashley Williams, who's like their multiple division champion.
It was a girl.
No, it was a man. Ash.
Oh, okay.
Ash the dude.
Yeah.
As far as I know. I mean,
Yeah, 2025.
No.
Most people were wondering, because I asked our Jackson Podcast Discord off the break what they want to know. They've been so influential in helping us come up with things they want to see and hear from. And when we said you were coming on, we have a little private Discord. And most of them were saying, okay, like this dude's career was incredible. You retired, now you're still doing grappling. Does this maybe make you want to come back to fighting? Like, are you really officially retired, or do you just love fighting and mixed martial arts? Like, what is it?
Well, if I could compete still, I would. Like, I'm just trying not to get punched in the head anymore. Like, basically. So I still roll. I don't spar much. I still do some striking, teach striking, but mainly I've sticking with grappling. It's a little safer.
How long were you pro? How long was your pro career?
About 19 years.
Oh yeah. That's a lot of years to get punched in the head.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, sparring back in the day was like, no boundaries, no nothing, right? It's just like whatever. We get to fight every day. I get to show up at work and fucking fight people all the time. I'm going to do it. And if your coach doesn't tell you fucking stop, then it's.
Are you surprised that so you have a 19-year career? I had a 25-year career, even though I haven't fought in 5 years, but still I haven't retired, and I still been sparring and stuff like that. Can you imagine like boxers who've been having a 19-year career? You see the way they talk and they punch drunk.
Oh, yeah.
Are you surprised that MMA guys are not the same like that?
I mean, I think it all just depends how much maybe damage they've taken, but the nature of the sport, obviously, boxing, you're trying to bludgeon a guy until he fucking falls down. And MMA, there's a lot of different ways to win. Not that that's not part of it, but I think there's the damage gets spread out throughout the body. I think maybe.
Yeah, I agree with you because some fighters they do get kind of I don't want to talk. Some fighters they're not so lucky like Nam Pham. Have you? Yeah, that's very unfortunate. But you don't see that as often in MMA as you do in boxing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's definitely something we got to be cognizant of, right? You got to get it while the getting's good, and get out hopefully healthy.
So when you came into MMA, was you more grappler based or more striker based?
So when I started training MMA, I do like an hour of grappling, hour kickboxing. I had a wrestling background from when I was a kid, but most of the guys that I was training with at the time, there's no kids doing MMA. So it was all grown men. So I was like 16, 17 years old competing against grown men. So unfortunately my wrestling kind of, I took a back seat and I got, real heavy into jiu-jitsu because I was, competing against bigger, stronger, grown ass men. But I think my first maybe 12 fights, I had like 6 subs and 6 TKOs or knockouts.
Well, it's crazy. My background was wrestling, but I sucked because I started late at 17. I went to college. I got lucky to go to college and wrestled, and I was right when I was getting good. I got injured, and then you got to heal up and stuff like that. When I started MMA, my wrestling got better because I loved wrestling so much. And that's crazy that it took a back seat for you. I heard of people doing that because you so excited about learning new arts and stuff.
Jiu-jitsu, yeah. And I mean, when I learned, how to sub guys from the bottom and learn some jiu-jitsu, especially being a smaller guy, I mean, that's obviously kind of a tactic. And it worked well in my career. At a certain point, like, as guys got better at defending subs and whatnot, I think maybe I got edged out in some of my fights because of that. But, I mean, I consider myself a pretty well-rounded fighter.
You see that? He learned how to sub people from the bottom. Bear, tell us, what did you learn about being the bottom?
Well, since I trained with Buchecha and Bernardo and Leo of Checkmat over here with our new jiu-jitsu program that we're trying to build, I'm learning a lot of things, Rampage. But you, I believe, are trying to guide that more towards the sexual talk. And we're not doing that today. One thing I want to know is, how did you link up with Greg Jackson? Because you were there in the beginning era when it was the Greg Jackson team with Mike Winklejohn and that whole situation. Mm-hmm. How did you end up linking up with that gym?
Just kind of serendipitously. They're in Albuquerque. They'd been, I think Greg and them started training MMA like 93, like right as the UFC came out. I think I started training with them in about 99 or 2000, and I just happened to be in the right town, and had some fantastic coaches. They were just getting off the ground at the time, but ended up being some of the greatest coaches in the world.
He lost me. He said they were slurping. What was it? Slurping Dixie. I couldn't hear. I'm about to watch them.
Serendipitously.
Oh, goddamn, that's a big word. What? Okay.
By chance, I happened to be in a good fight town, and there was it's a little place, but happened to have a great gym.
Bro,
he's the nicest guy in the world.
Calm down, bro. I've always been a fan of him, but I honestly didn't know that he was like that smart. Words I never even heard before. I thought he was talking about slurping on.
No, he gonna make you come out of retirement right now. He gonna show you a little something. He ain't one to play with. You want to play those games? You play those games with Kevin Holland. But when we have a man like this in the house, we treat him with some respect.
He has a sense of humor, unlike some other people.
Yes, he does actually.
You know my style is. I got a sense of humor. I like to make people laugh. Mm-hmm. I think that's why we're doing pretty good on this show, because I'm not as knowledgeable about MMA as you guys. Honestly, I'm not, because I was always. I'm just like a product of good coaching. Like my coach would tell me what to do, and I do it. I could never be a coach, so I'm not going to be here and break out big words that he says. But I can make people laugh about it. So
fair enough.
He got a good system here. He's not. Everybody don't have a. You need to quit.
No. I agree. One thing I was telling him earlier, I was like, it's hard when you have a podcast and you don't have people who are like understanding of what's going on right now in the media day. Like he's doing. He says, when's the last time you did an interview? Probably a few years.
Couple of years.
Yeah.
I avoid most stuff like the plague.
Yeah. So, and I was telling him, I'm like, I can imagine a lot of fighters have to go through a lot. I agreed. Like UFC probably requires a lot of you guys for media and attention and detail, and it doesn't add up to the pay, or maybe it does. I don't know the ins and outs, but we do this because we love it. So having a guy like him on here, it's very honorable. It's very like, for me, it's like a dream come true to be able to sit down with legends like this.
I'm gonna tell you from my perspective, I think the interviews and all the media and stuff, that's the part of the job that I always forgot about that comes with it. You feel like that? Like, you train for a fight and stuff like that, then it's like, we used to get there like that Tuesday before the fight, and I forgot it's all media. I always forget every fight, and I've done it like 30, 50 times.
Sure. Phone banks, doing interviews until your voice is hoarse, while you're cutting weight, saying the same shit, answering the same questions over and over.
It's the worst part.
It gets tiring, huh?
Yeah, it's part of promoting the fight. Like, I did it. I don't know if I was ever very good at it. I think I was like mediocre. I think I fought better than I ever fucking interviewed, but...
You're a great interview right now.
Yeah, wow. But is it draining though? Is it like mentally draining, or is it just something like, let me just cut weight? Because I don't see a lot of other sports have to deal with all that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I imagine they got to do media and whatnot, but I think a lot of other sports.
No, but they don't cut weight during the media.
Oh yeah. Boxers, they cut weight, but they like cut like 3 pounds. Be complaining about it. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to talk to you about also was this whole like, the camp. Like, it seems like Albuquerque's putting together a lot of fight.
Were you from Albuquerque?
Born and raised, man.
Born and raised in Albuquerque.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to say this, but I'm sorry to say this. With all due respect, I didn't think Albuquerque was a real place when I was a kid watching Bugs Bunny. I thought that shit was made up.
Rashad trained there. Jon Jones trained there.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm ashamed to say this part. That's when I learned it was a real place. When I fought in the UFC. Have you ever?
It sounds weird. I mean, it's like a Shangri-La or something, right?
Yeah. Am I the only person that ever told you that?
Yes. I'll say that for him.
I'm a fucking
Poor
weirdo.
guy.
Okay, so I'm supposed to be fighting in Albuquerque.
Yeah. When's that?
April 12th.
Dope.
That's what on paper, date subject change. So how's the nightlife? Because after my fight, I'm what? Hold on. This is disrespectful.
Focus on training, dude.
To answer your question, not great. I mean, I'm not really immersed in the nightlife these days.
You married and stuff?
40 years old. No, I'm locked down though.
No.
Yeah.
And also after the fight, don't plan on having like a nice after party is what you're telling me.
I mean, you could probably find a spot. It's just kind of slim pickings, I'd imagine.
Oh shit.
But I'm sure somebody could, shepherd you around and show you a good time.
Man, I have a routine. Train, fight, party, repeat.
Okay.
But what, in a nice way, what Carlos Condit, a legend in the game, is trying to tell you is focus more on the training, brother.
No, he didn't say that.
He definitely said that.
Well, I mean, that's part of it. That's part of the motivation, right? Like, that's if you want to go out, fucking fight and then go have some fun.
Bro, he has no idea. He don't like we're a different breed. Fighters, we're a different breed. He has no idea. He don't know what goes on in our head. Like, he think that I every day I gotta live and breathe and stuff. Like, that's my job. That's what I do. Like, I've been in more fights than I've done it almost anything else. Like, I'm not worried. Like, if I win or lose, fuck it, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. But I'm already planning on what I'm doing after my fight. But because I'm so far out, right? But when it get close to my fight, you know what I'm saying? Like 5 weeks out, I'm
lock in.
But he don't understand that.
I definitely understand that, and that's why I give you
balance, right? Yeah. It's balance. You gotta have that focus and discipline, and also you gotta have that outlet for the crazy.
Are you a drinker at all? Do you drink?
I used to. I haven't drank in a long time.
How many weeks out before your fight would you stop the drinking and stuff? Do you remember?
Maybe a couple weeks.
Like 3?
A couple weeks, yeah, like 3 weeks. But I used to often, I'd take 3, and this is when I was younger, take 3 months off and not do shit. Party, go in, do a 5-week camp, and then go do a 5-round title fight. This is more like WEC time, but yeah. I think had I not done that, my career I might have had a few more years on the back end, but can't really turn back time.
Nah, I feel you.
Were you a part of any camps with Rashad and Jon Jones and any of those guys during that time?
Oh yeah. We trained together. I trained a little bit with Rashad. Trained with Jon quite a bit.
How was he in the gym?
John's a great training partner.
Really?
You spar him?
Oh yeah. When Jon was a lot skinnier, before he started to put weight on, before he started to find his power, start sitting down on his punches, I sparred Jon a lot. And then once he started, sitting down on his punches and finding his power, I stopped doing that.
Hey, real
It's too
talk.
big.
Real talk. Be honest, if you want to say, have you ever seen anybody best John in the gym?
I have, yeah.
And you're not gonna talk about it, though.
Well, the same guy fucked me up the round right before too. One morning, I think it was like Tuesday morning, like 9 a.m. sparring. You know, we're in there, tipping and tapping. We get this dude. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Adlan Amagov. Adlan Amagov.
Is he a Dennis Stanger nigga?
He's a Chechen.
Uh-huh.
Chechen dude, and he fought in the UFC a couple times. I think his last fight, man, they carried his opponent out on the stretcher.
Oh wow!
But yeah, no, he finished a number of guys. He was like a spinning back kick guy, and he fucked me up. And then I think a round or two later, hit John with that spinning back kick.
Did he drop him?
He dropped him.
Oh! And did he get kicked out of the gym?
No,
Oh.
he stayed around.
We never saw him again though after that.
He had a couple fights in UFC, and then I don't know.
Hey, you think Jon Jones had him like?
That's
Is
what
he
I'm thinking.
still breathing, or he's sleeping with the fishes?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I ain't heard.
I never seen him
I never
again.
seen him again.
That's what I was. You know what I was thinking.
Yeah, is Jon Jones? Is he like in a way related or like got affiliated with the Clintons?
I don't know. Perhaps. I don't know.
How is he in the gym though as a teammate?
John's great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about Rashad?
I trained with Rashad just a few times, and yeah,
Did Rashad
everybody's
play-
professional.
Did Rashad play with his nipples in between rounds when you were training with him?
I don't recall it. Maybe I blocked that one out.
At that gym, you guys had a lot of top tier talent. Like, who were some guys that really stood out to you as like, wow, this guy's like an actual amazing, not just gym training partner, but a fighter?
Man, a lot of guys. Nate Marquardt trained with us.
Wow.
Nate Marquardt was a fantastic fighter. A lot of smaller guys. Cub Swanson. They used to break. Like the smaller guys would have later practice, and then we had earlier practice. They had later practice. Tons of guys, but Brandon Moreno used to train with us. Cheeto Vera used to train with us. The UFC brought a bunch of Mexican guys or a bunch of guys from South America and put them up in the dorms up there as like a talent development program, and probably half of them did fantastic, right?
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, because Cheeto talked about it. I mean, I do know the story from both sides, but I know Rashad was there kind of helping John get his wheels and his bearings right. And then maybe they had some agreement they were never going to fight each other. And then apparently they decided they were going to fight each other. And then it kind of split that whole training duo together. Is that true?
Well, that's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
If you got people training in their same weight class, eventually, if you guys are in the same organization, odds are you may end up fighting.
So speaking of that, what was the GSP drama? Like, why did Coach Greg Jackson, why did he stay neutral in that?
That's
Like,
kind of personal, bro. Why?
well, no, we don't have to go into it. I just want to know. I know. I mean this with all due respect.
Yeah, sure.
Like, because I do know, I feel like that was a disadvantage for GSP rather than an advantage for anybody because you just, put on a show. So, like, I never understood the issue there.
Well, so I've known Greg since I was like young, since I was like 16 or 17. Trained sporadically and under him for a while, and then at that time I'd been training with him for a while. But he was GSP's coach, right? He had trained George, cornered him for a number of fights. So I think that he just, instead of choosing a side, he just kind of stayed neutral, like you said.
Does it mess up your mindset knowing that a guy that's training you is not going to battle with you, or does it not bother you as a fighter?
Well, he didn't train me at all for that camp.
Nothing.
No, he didn't train me at all for that camp.
Oh, I thought he trained you the whole time, just didn't go to the fight.
Nope.
So what would he do if he saw you in the gym?
So I was training with other coaches that were like, part of the camp, but yeah, he just completely stepped aside.
He didn't train nobody.
He didn't train either of us. Yeah. No.
Oh, you gotta respect. You gotta respect that. There's
That's a
respect.
lot. Yeah, that's a lot different than what I thought. I thought he just walked up to you before the fight and said, "Hey, I'm not cornering you."
No. We had decided, like, when the fight kind of started, because how that played out is, I was supposed to. GSP was supposed to fight Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz didn't show up for a press conference. They gave me the fight. GSP gets hurt. He's out. I fight Diaz. And then have the interim belt, wait a while to fight George until his knees recovered. So we had a lot of time to kind of discuss that and kind of navigate it. And, no hard feelings. I appreciate that that he just stepped aside, didn't train either of us. I understand. It's tough. Yeah.
I suspect that GSP trained at the same gym as you.
Yeah. We didn't train. We never really trained together. Like he was there sometimes when I was there. But I mean, it was kind of clear. I mean, I was, like rising through the ranks and, getting towards title contention. So it looked like we would fight. So I think we kind of kept to our own spots in the gym.
Oh, and different times.
So yeah, and I mean he came in occasionally, right?
Oh, okay, because he wasn't living there.
Yeah, no, he's up in Montreal and all that. So
how does something like that, like with a head coach? I always wondered this as well because we have the gym here, Jackson Media House. We have Rampage. We have Coach Yogi, Coach Perillo. We have Bernardo Buchecha. We have jiu-jitsu coaches. Does the coach kind of walk up to you before the fight and go like, "Hey, bro, I'm your head coach. This is the camp. This is what we're gonna do." Like in a situation like that, does he go tell like another coach like, "Hey, you're gonna take over," and go meet him? Like how do you formulate a camp?
Yeah. So another coach stepped in as a guy named Chris Luttrell, who still trains people out in Albuquerque. Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was in good hands. He's a fantastic guy. I'd known him. He's one of Greg Jackson's black belts from way back. I'd been training with him since I was young too. So, I felt like I was in good hands.
And the word around Newport going around is that people think that you had a head coach before.
Who? Who?
I'm not saying on that. I'm just saying.
I had a bunch of head coaches.
That's what I heard.
I mean, but I'm not going to fight. I like to work with them, but that's about it.
Okay.
Learn technique, make sure I'm always proper.
Yeah, I'm telling you this. Hey, it's Orange County, small town.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean,
I hear things.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, what?
I'm a hobbyist, Carlos. I told you this earlier. Yeah. I'm a hobbyist. I enjoy this. I do it for fun. It's a passion project. In terms of like the title fight to Robbie Lawler, I feel like this is one of those things that everybody talks about as like one of the dopest fights, like one of the grittiest. It's an iconic fight, but literally the volume, the punches, you just attacking consistently, and a lot of people feel based off the volume and the accuracy and the way you were striking that you should have won that fight. Can you walk me through that fight? It's like a very classic fight. I feel like all MMA fans have a love for this fight.
Yeah, sure. So I think first round, maybe about a minute or two into the fight, I threw some kind of crazy switch uppercut, catch him, put him on his face. He pops right back up because Robbie's a fucking savage. First round, I just kept it on him, trying to finish. Second round, I go out and I try the same thing. I think I fell in love with that technique. I was like, all right, the thing worked the first time. I'm gonna make it work another time. I'm gonna make it work again. And I got caught. Boom, got caught with my head up. He dropped me. I think those middle rounds, kind of back and forth. Third round, I started pulling away. Maybe third or fourth round, I had him hurt. I think I caught him just a 3-piece, 1, 2, 3. Hit him with the hook and put him, had him on deer legs, and he survived. I mean, his fight before that, for context, was against Rory McDonald. So that was the fight directly before. And I mean, in that fight, absolute savage. If you watch that one, the dude is tough as nails. Robbie Lawler is one of my favorite of all time, by the way. Like,
he had a long career too.
Oh yeah, as a fan, like, and he's just a good dude. But and then third round, I come out. I think I have the thing in the bag, fifth round, last round. And so I start opening up. You see the first part of that round. I'm trying to finish. I think I'm up on the scorecards, and I'm like, fuck that. I'm gonna finish this fight. And so I go out and I open up, boom, boom, boom. And Robbie, as I know, has been seen in a lot of his fights. He'll kick it. He'll relax, and then he'll explode. And then towards the last part of that round, he started hitting me with big shots, and they were definitely hurting me. But also, fifth round, I'd thrown a ton of volume. I think I was probably gassing at the time. I was like, had hardly anything left, and he was kind of reserved. Which, I mean, hats off to him. He laid in wait and put it on me when he needed to, and walked away with the win on that one. But that was a tough one.
Was it a split?
Yeah, split decision. Yeah.
I mean, it's an iconic fight, but people talk about your power, people talk about your volume, and I know a lot of people tend to mix those up, but there is a difference, right? Some people have one punch knockout power, some people have incredible volume. As a fight fan, I mean, putting GSP down, right, with the way your technique is and the way you fighting, you know, Robbie, was your strategy always to go into fights and being like, yo, if I could just put the pace on people, stand in front of them and keep swinging at them, like I'll get them where I need them? Or like, what was your strategy with this? Because you're known as such a high volume striker.
Yeah, I always like to put pressure on the guy. Use that like the intensity and the pace of the fight as a weapon, right? Try to make them fold. You know, I always felt like I had great conditioning coming into fights, and I tried to use that as a weapon, right? Everybody's fucking great until they get tired. Being tired is the word. I've never worried about not being strong enough. I've never worried about anything else. Being tired in a fight when somebody's trying to smash you that's the worst thing.
It's like my biggest nightmare. That's the main thing I always worried about.
Just the pace of someone?
No, not the pace. I don't give me fatigue, gassing out. It can happen
because of the pace they put on you, or you just going into the fight?
No,
in general.
In general, because sometimes you can like say you hurt somebody and you want to go, you can punch yourself out and stuff like that, or you get an injury and then in camp and you're still going to fight and you just can't like get your cardio. It's just mental as well. It's like the worst part.
Sure.
But even for a guy like you know, like Kevin Randleman, for example, strong guy, right? Incredible strength, incredible power. Are you more gassed out because every time you're going in to stop him from, you know, double legging or something, that you're putting extra power into and then you're, instead of using technique, so it forces you to gas out faster?
You know, the crazy thing about that fight was that was my first time in my career hiring a nutritionist. And I had this lady, her name is Dawn. She was a bodybuilder, and she lives here in Newport. And I showed her who I was fighting. She didn't know much about MMA. And she was like, no disrespect to Kevin Randleman, RIP. She was like, oh, these guys on steroids, because she knew about it. She probably was on it too. And she was like, you gonna do steroids? She was like, no, I don't do that shit. She said, but how can he do it? Anyway, she said, I'm gonna have to train you, and you're gonna have to drink nothing but water. And she put me on a diet where I had to eat 6 times a day. She said, you can't have nothing but water. I was like, why? She said, because a couple of days before your fight, I'm gonna let you drink orange juice, apple juice, whatever, and it's gonna give you like extra strength, gonna make you feel like you on steroids. I didn't believe her, and I did it because I was worried about him being a lot stronger than me, because we all know how he looked. And for that camp, I trained with my wrestling coach at the time, was Zach Light, and he brought in 2 smaller wrestlers. And he was like, this is going to be a wrestling match, and Kevin Randleman's going to be strong, and he's going to take a lot of shots. And I wrestled with those little guys faster than me and said, blah, blah, blah. When I got there to the fight, I was actually stronger than Kevin Randleman, because that lady, she was right. Dawn, she was right, because I did exactly what she said. My first time ever listening to a nutritionist 100%. And I didn't cheat on my diet. I ate 6 times a day, and I drank nothing but water for like, 8 weeks. And a couple of days when I got to Japan, I had apple juice and orange juice and stuff like that, and I was stronger than him. So I was worried about it, but when I got in the fight, my round's 10 minutes. The first round was 10 minutes. So it was something that I was worried about. I was worried about gassing out due to a lot of wrestling though.
Oh, hell yeah. And I guess to your point,
yeah,
wrestling and the grappling absolutely can take it out of you, right? You see guys get into a grappling exchange. I mean, they're real sharp, and then all of a sudden they got to grapple and tussle up against the cage, and then their punches are slower, right? They take that deep breath, and that's what you got to train for, right? You have to train for that change in pace, and I think that's what's different with MMA compared to all over other sports. You got to be a jack of all trades, not only with your skill set and your technique, but also your energy systems and the way that you're doing your strength conditioning, right? Because it's not just always a sprint. It's not always just one particular thing. You're going from kind of like sprinting to isometric stuff to the stress that it has that it has on your body, and to train for that is it's difficult.
How did you train for guys like, say, for example, for a guy like GSP? Was your strength and conditioning a lot different than it was for most camps, knowing that this guy was strong and good on the ground, good on his feet?
Yeah. I'd been working with a strength coach in Albuquerque, Adrian Gonzalez, for a while, and for that one, I think we tuned it for him, or for GSP. Put some weight on. I actually had a terrible weight cut for my GSP fight. I put a bunch of muscle on, and then hadn't anticipated the weight cut, because I really never had a problem making 170. And then, of course, your body changes, your composition changes, and you got to change the formula a little bit. And I hadn't, and so that was a tough wake up.
Why do you feel like you had to put muscle on for GSP?
I don't know. I mean, I was listening to my coaches.
I was just going to say, I'm not going to say bad advice. My bad. I was going to say advice.
This is the advice that I took, right? And you get with strength and conditioning coaches, and they've trained different athletes, and the requirements, like I was talking about, for MMA are different, and so there's a learning curve with that.
Yeah, I kind of understand. I got to take myself out of it sometimes. I don't remember me not being the strongest guy in there. Like I said, I thought Kevin Randall was going to be stronger than me. But this one guy I fought, please forgive me for my brain fart. I fought him in King of the Cage after I went to Pride. I came back. I bumped him not too long ago out in Chicago. I'm sorry if I remember your name, brother, if you're watching this, but I fought this guy and I thought I was going to overpower him. Yeah, he was strong. He was the only guy that I remember thinking like, oh, this guy's strong. But that's why I'm saying I'm strong when I get out there. Yeah. So I don't understand like somebody, you're going to fight somebody.
Well, and then strength is, strength can look different, right? Kevin Randleman was like fucking explosive, right? Like super explosive. I mean, he'd throw you on your fucking head. Yeah. But also with that, like you put that dude in a long clinch, his muscles going to get saturated with blood. His arms get pumped, and now he's not as explosive, and he starts to fade.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me because like I see your career, and if you look at the curve of like the styles and the traditional genres of MMA with which we've seen in UFC, you've kind of gone through that curve of like that old school traditional style, and then like a little bit more modern age, and then you see a lot of the grappling and jiu-jitsu coming into play heavier on the floor, and you've been able to stay consistent still at the highest level through the whole time. Did you see your career and your training programs, your coaches constantly evolving, or did you kind of just always stay set in your ways?
Oh, it's definitely an evolution.
Yeah.
I mean, I started doing this in like 2000. So I mean, as the sport evolved and as our knowledge increased, and I never knew that I was going to be fighting in the UFC, right? I was just doing it for fun, right? I was just trying to like fighting on King of the Cage at casinos in New Mexico, and so the requirements for training, right? I do a 3-week camp, still fucking around, still partying and stuff. But as you get to the higher echelons, obviously that doesn't work. So absolutely had to evolve.
Because your WEC career, I don't think people talk about this. Like it was illustrious. Like you had like 20 plus fights, wins, right? Like how many did you have?
No, WEC I think had 4.
Before the UFC.
Before the
going into the UFC.
Just in UFC, just in WEC, I think I had 4. I had my debut, and then I maybe had 5, because I had title fight, and then I had 3 title defenses after that. So it was my first one was a guy named Kyle Jensen. Second one, John Alessio, that it was a vacant title, beat him. Next one, Brock Larson. Next one was to Carlo Prater. In Albuquerque, and that was actually my first loss when I was younger. So came back, avenged that one, and then the last one was Hiromitsu Mira, the judo dude who threw me all over the fucking cage.
I didn't know he fought Brock Lesnar.
Larson. Not quite as big, but almost.
But pretty big.
He was big for his weight class.
He's a big old dude. I remember I'd see him fight week. He'd be cornering other guys, and earlier or on events. I'm like, damn, I hope I never have to fucking fight that guy. I ended up fighting him.
Who was the promoter over there at WEC?
Remember? Scott Adams.
I remember that name.
Scott Adams, yeah. And then Reed Harris was also one of, in the mix with the head guys.
But you had 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 20 plus fights before going into the UFC. Yeah. And so most people, and your win record was pretty incredible. So most people would consider that already an amazing MMA career. And then you go and, what age were you when you came into the UFC? 27, 28?
Yeah.
And then you go and put on this performance for the ages. I mean, you started at the UFC a little bit late compared to what we see now. I mean, do you feel like, did that elevate your game a little bit more because you came in more seasoned, or do you think it hurt you because you came in a little bit later? Like, Do you think it even mattered?
Starting out as a pro fighter, I mean, the Ultimate Fighter hadn't hit yet. The sport hadn't blown up like it did, right? There wasn't a clear path on how you get into the UFC. We were just doing local shows, regional shows, mainly for fun, trying to build some kind of a thing. So, I mean, to your question, I think it was an advantage. Like, I think I was right in my prime, 27, 28, 29, 30. I was, right in, and that was when I had some of my best fights.
Yeah, because you put on performances, you put on bangers. I mean, I think you're one of very few fighters who has never been knocked down from a punch in the.
I've been knocked down.
Never been knocked down.
I never stayed down.
Yeah. Never been knocked out from a.
You never been knocked out, not even in sparring?
Not knocked out, no.
Wow,
No,
that's
not,
good.
not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
And you still sparring and stuff sometimes?
No, hell no. No, I roll. I'm not. Like I said, I'm not trying to get punched in the head anymore.
You don't miss it?
A little bit. I was teaching a Muay Thai class last night, and they had sparring going on in the ring. I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun, but also,
Man, I wish I could say I've never been knocked out.
I mean, for me personally, because I'm not a fighter, I do this for fun. I just spar for fun, all joking aside, to never been knocked out, to have that many dope UFC fights that are just bangers, like the Robbie Lawler fight, for example, like it's comparable to a guy like Max Holloway. His first time we've ever seen him knocked out was against Ilya. What do you think made you so durable to go that long of a career? But it's not like you're staying in the pocket and coming in and out. Like, you sat there and banged the best of them. So obviously something's different about you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that part of it is my style, a lot of movement, right? Like, I'm a tall, skinny dude. I had to use my advantages and stay, keep distance. And, that was always something that I game planned for, but maybe I just got a hard head too. I think I've just, I don't know, and luck, probably a lot of luck.
Can you train a chin?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure, and I'm still trying to figure out is it mental? Like, if you do get knocked out, then you get knocked out a lot, because if you think about it, like those K1 guys, they get knocked out, but they go and fight. They don't look like they gun shy or nothing. They go and sometimes they go and run. They don't get knocked out. So I think for some people, it's mental. With all due respect, after Chuck got knocked out, he started getting knocked out a little bit more, and it's like before that,
It could probably be different things. Part of it is maybe psychological, but I think there's got to be some kind of neurological thing. Like, you get more susceptible to knockouts, right? Your brain
shuts off.
Yeah. I think you can train the chin, but not the way that, like, you're thinking. I don't think you can train the chin by getting punched in the head. I think that's the dumbest shit ever. But training your musculature, right? Your neck, your jaw. There is stuff that you could probably do, but I also think that some of it's just I don't know, genetic.
Look at his jaw, his neck. He got a lot of muscle. I bet he do a lot of training.
Doing a lot.
I bet you do a lot of training.
There's a lot of videos, if the audience wants to go, Custom Auto talking about training Mike Tyson. One of the biggest advantages he thought Mike could have, being a younger guy in the heavyweight division, was training his neck and having pressure on his shoulders. So when his neck was like more limber, that way it could kind of accept the punch in a way, like accept the power from those bigger guys. But he was able to move
There might
around.
be something. Have you ever been dropped from a body shot in training?
Oh yeah.
I've never been dropped from a body shot. I'm no
longer jealous of you. Never?
Never, because that hurts.
It does hurt.
Tito Ortiz said he dropped you with a body shot.
Bro, give me a Bible. I'll put my hand on it.
I know, but Tito Ortiz said it.
I dropped Tito with a body shot in Big Bear in front of Colin Oyama, and Tito act like I hit him in the nuts.
And what did he do? He faked it?
He faked like a nut shot. And Coach Oyama, he saw, I was like, Coach, why? It's just, guess what? It was only a few of us in the gym. It wasn't a crowd of people watching. And I'm like, Coach, why he, So this is what happened. I used to train with Rico Rodriguez and Tito Ortiz from when I was right after my fight with Sakuraba, my first time training with Tito. And they used to kick my ass. Tito and Rico used to take turns beating the shit out of me. And they would, after their fights, I would train them for their fights. They wouldn't come train me for my fight. I'm just keeping it real. I love them. They're my brothers. But they be busy. They were big stars back then. Rico was champion, Tito was champion. After their fights, they be off doing whatever champions do in between fights. My fights, I take a week off, and I'm back in the gym working with Colin Oyama. Yeah. And after a couple of months, man, I don't know, maybe a year of them beating the fuck out of me, they used to take turns beating the fuck out of me. then the tides turn.
Oh yeah, get better. Absolutely.
I mean, that's the benefit of having a good team, I would assume, right? Like having a team and a gym that you can count on, guys that can beat you up or push you to the brink. I mean, we see some of the best guys in MMA history coming out of that gym. I'm assuming having a good sparring partner will help elevate your game, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have mixed feelings on sparring. Like, I think that sparring can have detrimental effects if you're sparring too hard, too much, right? I think there's maybe diminishing returns, right? Like, I think when you're young and your first come, you got to see what it feels like to get punched in the head. You got to feel that intensity of like actually like this is somebody trying to hurt me. I stopped sparring quite as much as I got older, right? A lot of touch sparring, a lot of light stuff, right? Probably because before I switched to that regiment, man, I was getting concussions in training camp, and then I'd go do a UFC fight, probably get my bell rung and a concussion in the fight. So there's a couple of years, man, where I got, I don't know, maybe 8-10 concussions per year.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Wow. And you never been knocked out?
Never been knocked out.
Bro, I've been knocked out like 2 times. I've been knocked out 2 times and I've been stopped. One time when Vanderlei kneed me in the head like 15 times. Mm-hmm. I wasn't knocked out. And when he knocked me out on the ropes, I was still conscious. I still remember that. But when Fedor knocked me out, I lost like a couple seconds of my life. And I don't think I heard every knockout you get a concussion. Yeah. And I went to the doctor, so I never heard that I got a concussion.
Weird.
It's weird, right? Mm-hmm. So I had a concussion because I got knocked out.
Maybe.
Right?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
You look like a doctor. You talk like a doctor.
He talks like one. Yeah, it seems like you've done a lot of research, a lot of your own like private study on fighting, the mindset, the body. Like,
it was. I mean, that was my business for a long time, right?
But did you really dive deep? Not a lot of fighters are willing to talk about like the after effects of fighting and the mind, the body, concussions. Like, have you done a lot of research on that? It seems like you're very well educated on that.
Some. I mean, I just listen to what smarter people say usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever done acupuncture and stuff like that?
Yeah, but not for my brain.
Yeah. Are you into that?
Not so much. I mean, I don't know. I move, I eat well. That's about, that's kind of the extent of my my wellness program.
How do you feel about CTE? Do you believe that is actually a thing?
I mean, I definitely think it's.
You definitely think it's
I definitely think it's got to be.
I didn't start hearing about it till a couple of years ago. CTE, from the football players. That's the first words I heard about it.
Sure. Well, I think they were doing research. I think the thing about CTE, they say, is like they can't diagnose it until they autopsy you. They can't see all that stuff in your brain until they cut you open. So I mean, it's kind of hard to maybe diagnose. I don't know if you're involved in it, but I know that the Cleveland Clinic in the one in Vegas is doing a fighter study. Basically, they keep tabs on people who are professional fighters. They want you to come in, once a year. They test you. They, all kinds of different stuff. And they kind of want to. I think what they're trying to do is initially establish a baseline, and then see are you declining and what that looks like. And
I'll do that. I'll go. I'm going to do that as long as they don't have to get. As long as they don't try to give me a prostate exam. I'll go and do that.
That's important too, Rampage.
I know. Listen. I know it's important, but when you got to do it? When you're like 50? I got like 4 more years.
Oh,
how old are you?
46.
Well, then my doctor lied to me, dude.
Hey, I heard there's rumors that they don't have to do that no more. They got new technology.
I'm sure. Just scan you. Boop.
You already had your prostate exam?
Once or twice.
I heard Bear go twice a week.
Oh.
No. That's what I heard. But anyway, by CTE, I was in Columbia at Bioaccelerator, and they said that stem cells actually, they think it actually helps with CTE. So sure. I'm gonna take my friend Riddick Bowe. You know who Riddick Bowe is?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna take him to Columbia and see if it helps because I hang out with Riddick Bowe and stuff like that. Talk to him, and he's witty. Like you talk with a joke and stuff like that. He's witty. We met him here. We on the podcast.
So funny.
My favorite guy ever. But then sometimes like he'll tell you something, and then like maybe like an hour later he forgot that he even talked to you about it.
Sure.
And you can hear it in his voice that
that guy went through wars though. Mm-hmm. If there was a study on CTE and that whole concept of what happens to your mind with that much trauma to the brain rattling, losing oxygen that fast, I know he didn't have hardly any losses, but still, dude, the wars that guy went through.
Sure. Like how many times he fight Evander
40 plus.
Holyfield?
Oh, I know. 40 plus
twice.
professional fights, though.
I think he fought him twice. Yeah.
I mean,
That was his only loss.
that'll do it.
Yeah, that just one fight with Evander Holyfield would do it for anybody.
But
Let
Evander,
alone-
he's strong, big, muscular guy, but he was small for a heavyweight though. But he must punch like a fucking truck.
Yeah. I mean, fast, right? He was like super athletic, right? That's why he did real well.
Who was your favorite boxer back in the day when you were growing up?
I liked Evander Holyfield quite a bit. The New Mexico guys, Johnny Tapia. Johnny Tapia?
Yeah.
Johnny Tapia, man. That's kind of the roots of the fight, the fight community in New Mexico.
Have you ever bumped into him?
He passed away a while ago.
Yeah.
But I met him.
You met him
Yeah,
before?
I met him before he did.
Yeah, he's a legend, though, from New Mexico. Coach Perillo's talked to some stories about him. One thing I wanted to figure out, in terms of training, like a lot of athletes have these injuries in MMA, and it seems like the UFC PI and UFC is doing a better job at trying to take care of the fighters, and it seems that they're doing an incredible job with these new UFC PIs, one in Mexico, one in Vegas. I feel like that's an incredible thing to have for a fighter. When you tore the ACL, the meniscus against Tyrone Woodley, what was it like, the training regimen, but also the mindset? We have an athlete we sponsor, is a Supercross icon, legend, kid, perfect season last year, Jet Lawrence. This year, 2 days ago, he just blew out his ACL and his meniscus, and now he's out for the season. Last year, he had a perfect season, basically, the year before that. So, like, what goes into the rehab and the recovery of that type of injury?
Well, luckily, I had a fantastic PT, right? Like physical therapy is, absolutely required. Like I know some people who didn't, that they blew their ACL and they just did their normal thing. But for me, that was essential. Like I think I took 18 months from the injury before I ended up coming back, and it was a lot of physical therapy.
Shit, man. When I tore my meniscus, got surgery, I was supposed to take PT, and I think I had something going on, and I don't like to pull out on my commitments or my girlfriends. and I think I had a Japan trip or something I had to go to, and I didn't get PT. I didn't think that my knee never was the same.
Yeah. I mean, mine's not great. Yeah. I mean, both my knees aren't great. I got a couple surgeries that I could probably get if I wanted to, or maybe need to.
Now I wonder if I go back and redo the surgery, then do PT again, and get stem cells from BioAccelerator. I wonder if maybe I can probably correct everything. Maybe
get a brand new knee.
You think so?
Maybe.
You know what I always said? I always said, like, back in the day, I was like, oh, in the future, it's gonna be like Terminator, where you can get a whole new knee joint. You get a whole new. I think we almost getting there where we can have like new stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, people get knee replacements all the time. I don't know if you're gonna go be doing jiu-jitsu or competing professionally after that. But who did that? Doesn't Bisping have a double knee replacement? Somebody who was competing actively had a goddamn double.
Bisping's a different breed, though, bro.
He is. No eye, maybe bionic knees.
Yeah. Bisping, bro. I never seen anybody like him. He'd get injured and stuff in the gym, and we still train for a fight, and we'd be training. We'd be like trying to take it easy on the end. He'd be like, don't worry about it. Let's go. This guy's crazy. Like, we all, how you get injured for fights, but some of his injuries, you got to pull out a fight. Check Congo like that too.
Check Congo's another different breed.
Just send it.
Yeah.
Just fucking let it roll.
Bro, he fought with like torn things in his shoulder and stuff.
Yeah, but that guy's a whole different animal. Even the way he trains when he was here, I could just imagine that guy in his prime. I pulled up this video, 2006 against Tanaka. Okay, and this is probably one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen. It looks like you just stomp him to death.
Yeah, like pride rules. Right?
Yeah,
Japan, that was a whole different mindset when there's soccer kicks involved.
I gotta pull this up real quick, Rampage, because I got one or two more things for the legend over here before we let him go. But we gotta watch.
Did you train for the soccer kicks?
Oh yeah, man! I took a soccer ball out to the park, do my sprints, shadow box, sprawl, boot that thing, sprint again. Dude, I love pride rules. Especially, I was fighting at 165 was the weight class at the time, something like that. I don't know what the kilos were, but these dudes were tiny. They weren't cutting weight. I was cutting a little bit of weight. And I was way bigger than these dudes, and I was, yeah.
So towards the end of this, hold on, let me pull this fight up real quick. But yeah, you got to explain this to me. I didn't even know that.
We're up.
Yeah, this is it. So I'm gonna fast forward to the end of this fight, but you put a beating on this dude.
Is this it?
Yeah, I got it. This is in 2006
Oh, damn.
against Tanaka. Carlos
Oh,
Condit.
that was a good soccer kick.
You just went right past mounting and straight to soccer kicks to the face.
Bro, it looked natural. Like Vanderlei. You've been you train with Vanderlei?
I watched all you guys.
And you bow to the crowd. Even better. I mean, bro, that's like got to be one of the most vicious. People got to watch this
Bro,
clip.
it's like he trained with shoot box. He's just so natural for somebody to come from American rules. That was your first fight over there like that?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I trained a couple of, but I love the shootbox guys. Like I love Ninja and Shogun. I fucking love those guys.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
Yeah, they always fought. I used to like the way they used to do like those jump kicks, crazy shit. I'm like, damn, I got to fight one of these crazy motherfuckers.
And they were pretty crazy, but your fights were like iconic too, because I think the 10-minute rounds, we just got so many clips.
Yeah, but not with Shogun. That fight hunted me for so long because I got injured in training camp, and I'm gonna be 100% honest. You know, so I come from a poor family and stuff like that, and I was making cash money and stuff, and I was making pretty good money. I like took care of my family, did a whole lot of stuff, and wasn't like keeping my money straight, just living fast. And I was like, I got injured, and I was like, I should have pulled out that fight. I was like, I need this payday.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. And I couldn't run for a long time because it was hard for me to get sparring partners back then. And my coach at the time, I was begging, I need some sparring partners. I'm going against the shootbox. They brought in this big fat guy, kickboxer guy, big fat motherfucker. And I'm fighting 205. This motherfucker looked like he was like at least 270 and just like sloppy fat. And every time I was sparring him, I would punch him. He did this kick that I'd never seen before. When I go for a jab or a punch, he'd low kick my ankle. And he'd spar him, and I'm paying him. And it was like he was waiting, and then one time he did it, rolled my ankle. And I was like, man, fuck you. Now you had a job, you dumb motherfucker.
Sure. I hate people who do like that. I mean, it's cool in a fight. Yeah, you do that in a fight, but dudes that want to just like fucking side kick your knee or something. It's like, dude, we're training.
Yeah.
Like there's money at the end of this. Like this isn't about this training session right now. It's not about you getting the better of me. It's like we're preparing for this thing. And if you can't do that, and if you're gonna fuck it up, then you shouldn't be in the gym. You're a liability.
Right. But at this time, I'm fighting in Pride. He's a fighter. I'm sure he's watching Pride, seeing me fighting on Pride. I didn't know who the fuck he was. Just somebody that they paid, I'm paying him to be there. And I've dealt with people like that before. He won the best Rampage.
Yep.
And so that's how you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Every time I went he was good at it. Every time I went for a punch or something, he didn't want to spar. He just kicked me right in the ankle.
Which is nothing like what your upcoming opponents were doing.
Nobody's doing it. Never seen it before.
Yeah.
Must have been a kickboxer.
He's trying to
move or
hurt you.
something.
He's trying to hurt you.
He was trying to hurt me.
I mean, Carlos, obviously there's so many things I want to talk to you about, but as we get ready to wrap this thing up, first of all, I want to say thank you for coming on this. I know you don't do interviews. Me and Rampage have been trying to put on a good show for the MMA community. We started our new show, Behind the Brand, so we do this like weekly show so people can at least see all the chaos that goes on here. There's so much going on here every day. I had just like one or two more things. The mindset you have, like even the way you're talking about it, like, yo, there's money at the end of this. Like we're training, like you're very aware, you're very conscious. We see a lot of guys that go to the battles you go to and they're brawlers. They're not as methodical as you, but they put on crazy shows. It almost looks like you understood the fight game to such an extent that you went out there on purpose to put on an exciting fight for the crowd, or you went out there to kind of really give the audience something they had never seen before. Did you look at fighting that way, or was it just natural for you?
I was just going out there and doing me. Like I think I had some like physical disadvantages. You see this fight, like I'm skinny as hell.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely had some, I'm not the most athletic guy, but I love to fight and I can do it well. And so I would just go out there and I was well coached. I had a pretty broad skill set and I would just go out there and, do the thing. And, I think a lot of the guys that I beat, I probably had no business beating them, but I was just, I'd rise up and I'd try to put everything together. And I think a lot of my fights were exciting because I'd get my ass kicked for half the fight. There was like a lot of my fights were like right, hanging in the balance.
Like Rocky.
Hanging in the balance often. And I think that made for exciting fights.
Well, you had a great career, man. We all love watching you. So.
Thank you, bro.
But what are you doing now? I heard you like growing like plants and shit. You a gardener?
Growing some plants, yeah.
You're gonna put his business out?
Little bit of a green thumb.
You don't have to talk about that. You're gonna.
All right, he got a hobby. I
You don't
want
have to. If you don't want to, you don't have to talk about this on air.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
He got a green thumb.
I wish it was more of a hobby. It's more of a freaking I don't even know it. But yeah, I'm involved in the cannabis industry in New Mexico. We went rec a couple of years ago. I have a grow. We have an operation, Oddfellow Cannabis.
Oddfellow,
yeah. Some partners, yeah.
You have a lot of stores that you sell that at.
Yeah. We got distribution all throughout the state.
Oddfellow.
Oddfellow. Yes,
So when
sir.
Rampage goes out there, he needs some Oddfellow mushroom gummies. What do you got?
We
Everything.
got
bars.
I'll just cannabis.
Just
But
cannabis.
I'll get you mushrooms if you need some.
I'm not Rashad Evans. I don't do.
What would you guys just sell? You sell edibles? You sell pre-rolls or just the flower?
We have a couple different SKUs. We do extract, so live rosin, flour, and then we got different SKUs.
How'd you get into that?
I met my business partners right before it launched in rec, and they already had a couple things in play, and just kind of I've learned a lot through it. It's been interesting. I did this my whole life, right?
Yeah,
I was
right.
pretty focused on being the best fighter that I could be. So I think I didn't have a lot of marketable job skills. Like you get it, like
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But I've learned quite a bit since there. I wear a lot of different hats. I do some project management stuff. I do all kind of stuff, some administrative shit. They got me doing administrative shit. I'm like,
Is it fun though? You like it?
Yeah, man. I enjoy it. It's a motherfucker. But
Do you guys have any organic weed?
Organic is like a thing into itself, but no, we're not certified organic, but we're pretty top tier.
That's more of a pay-for-play title. I feel like the way the game is played right now, if you have proper growers that understand the agricultural cycle and understand the way that things need to be harvested and cropped, then you're still going to get premium flower. But if you're dealing with guys that are paying for play, buying every title they can because they have big VCs.
How do you know? You never even smoked a joint in your life, bro.
So I don't even know if organic is like if there's even organic certified cannabis in New Mexico. I don't even know.
Or in the world, okay. So the only reason why I asked is because I stopped smoking weed when I turned 17. But every now and then I like to indulge. I like to have like a little puff pass here.
Yes, sir.
But everybody's not like me. I don't like the way weed make me because I won't shut the fuck up if I smoke weed. I will talk for hours.
I appreciate everything. This was literally phenomenal. We wanted to be able to sit down with you, and I know that the audience can't wait for this. They were dying for you. No joking aside, bro. The MMA community respects you for what you did. I'm excited to hear about this business. We'll definitely, whatever we could do to help you. But if you guys are in New Mexico, you make sure you go show him love. Oddfellow, where could they go if they're in New Mexico watching this?
Pretty much any major store,
Yeah.
any major cannabis dispensary we're in. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And is there anything else you have going on out there? Are you training still? Are you still doing anything?
So I teach at a couple different gyms. I teach at Kingdom in Albuquerque. I teach at the 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu spot.
Sick.
And then I actually have a fighter retreat thing coming up in Colombia in May, like May 18th through the 25th or something, like 7-day all-inclusive. Me and Brandon Six Gun Gibson are going to be running classes, a couple classes a day.
A resort?
Yeah, I think it's like a house. I don't know. Like,
where is this at?
Colombia. I don't exactly know.
Wait, hold on.
You woke up.
Yeah.
Hey, how do I send Rampage to go hang out with you guys in Colombia?
Fighters Retreat.
What's that mean?
That's the name of the company.
It's like an actual company that you just go out there and learn how to fight.
Well, so they're putting on the event basically. So I think it's like it's like 16 spots. People can come and sign up. They stay at the place. We run classes a couple times a day, and then they're going to be doing all kinds of stuff like all kinds of excursions. They got chef, all that.
In Colombia, you said.
In Colombia.
And if I were to go there and I would join up to this, I have like some free time at night to myself.
I think that's the deal.
Well, let's sign him up. You guys would have a blast together.
I think you would probably have your own whole ass thing unto yourself. You know what I mean? Like that's, Rampage deserves his own retreat.
Yeah, I would like a nice retreat somewhere in Colombia.
I'll get him in touch.
Was it like a week?
Yeah, I think it's like 7
Oh,
days.
you got to go. You would love this.
Oh man, Colombia for a week retreat?
God, dude. What we got to do, though, is we got to figure out if you're still grappling or interested in jiu-jitsu. We got to have him as one of our super fights at the Super Cup in November. We threw a massive jiu-jitsu event out here.
300K. I'm his manager. 300K.
We're going to have to worry about the wires later, and I hope that was in pesos the way you come at me. All right, listen, ladies and gentlemen.
So, to answer your question, yes, absolutely, I'm in.
Get the... Okay. Listen, hey, we might be able to do this. I'm not going to say yes or no, but Carlos Condit might be a super fight at our Super Cup, hosted by Leo Vera. It's one of the biggest jiu-jitsu events in SoCal. We threw our first one last year. We rented out the hangar at the OC Fair, had over almost 1,000 people competing, and we put it together in less than 4 weeks. Nice. So now Jackson Media House, Jackson Podcast, Santo Studio, we're really getting behind it with the launch of our brand new JX1s and the chains. We figured, all the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world wear it. How do we support the community? So we teamed up with Leo Vera to throw this massive event. It's been awesome, actually, so far. So I appreciate you coming on the podcast. And honestly, bro,
of course,
it was just some of the most memorable moments growing up watching you compete and literally do some of the best things we've ever seen in that cage. So we appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Make sure you guys leave a comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you guys want. Don't forget, we dropped a brand new episode of Jackson Behind the Brand. I'm Bear Degidio, Rampage Jackson, and Carlos Condit. We out.